let me record this one. Okay, project manager's role and responsibility. Remember, the word project manager basically refer to profession. Okay, profession, I would say the highest profession. You need to have to be what we call well-experienced person in order to apply the job as a project manager. If you are a fresh graduate, even though if you have a master degree or PhD degree, there is no way that people will accept you as a project manager because it is a experience-based position. You can have basically basic degree, just simply basic degree. To a certain extent, I have seen people who even have diploma only in civil engineering has basically rise to become a project manager because of their experience. Okay. All right. 10 reasons why project fail. Okay. We have seen even in Malaysia, so many projects fail during construction or even during certain stages in the project life cycle. Okay, some of the project we don't even know because it was being shelved due to the fact that there might be a insufficient fund, there might be not feasible, there might be changes in government, and etc. etc. And we have seen building who was being constructed, but maybe require another 10% more to complete. At the end of the day, they couldn't get completed. Okay, there are so many reasons why. One of them could be lack of planning. Lack of planning. As we mentioned, planning is the heart of project management. It is very important to have planning in almost everything. Okay, almost everything, even in our everyday life, we do need planning. And if we are managing a multi-billion ringgit of project, for sure planning must be more complicated than what people perceive. And then number two, lack of commitment and sponsorship. Sponsorship basically refer to the funder. Who is going to fund the project? Who is going to give money or invest on the project? Oftentimes, at the beginning of the project, there are a lot of people who are interested, but then they also will have problems. We have seen construction boom in a country like Dubai, etc., etc., and there are many projects there which basically was great during the concept, but didn't get things done, didn't materialize. Why? Due to certain issue with regard to the sponsorship. Number three, lack of user involvement. A project can be completed, but at the end of the day, it deemed to be what we call to be not suitable. Okay, not suitable unless they do modification. So many they say it is extra money. Why? Because they didn't get the user ideas, what kind of things that need to be done. Example, in UTM, we do have a lot of problems, okay, with regard to user involvement, because that thing was being designed by whatever consultant, then constructed by contractor, but then we are the end user. We normally require classroom. Sometimes the classroom could change with regard to method of teaching. Sometimes we want to do the discussion, and even in our M56 block, if you notice, when they were handed over to us, the screen basically was being put facing the roadside, okay, facing the roadside, and then And then the issue is that when lecturer come in and they have to go through all the desk, the chair, whatever, in order to get to the end of the room. Then after that, they change to front. Okay, when they change to front, then they need to construct the platform and put the LCD. Everything basically change. That is basically additional cost. Number 4, lack of role and responsibility. This is the one that we are going to zoom in. Okay, we are going to zoom in this topic. Okay, today's with regard to item number 4. So this slide is about this topic. The rest are part and parcel of project fail. Lack of control, as I already mentioned previously, we can plan, but at the end of the day, control is much more important things. Lack of completion, meaning to say, oftentimes, the project just need a few percentage more, but when they got problem, okay, it doesn't matter whether it is 10%, 5%. Sometimes the project remain to be incomplete, as we have seen in a few projects, even in JB and many more places. Lack of skill resources. So this is another issue. Skilled resources. I have mentioned many times. One of the issue that we have in Malaysia, 80% of our workforce is basically foreign workers. Yesterday, we all seen that Bangladeshi in Dhaka was stuck there, wanted to come back to Malaysia to work. Okay, just imagine. And what do you think about those people? Do you think they are highly skilled people? I don't think so. Okay, most of the time, from the record that we do have, 60 to 70% of these people who come to Malaysia, especially laborer, can be categorized as unskilled workers. Lack of communication, okay? Communication failure. It is not to say inability to communicate in certain language. That is one thing. The most important thing is basically the flow of information. Lack of leadership. Okay. Sometimes people are being appointed as manager. They people expect them to be a leader at the same time, but they simply do not behave in such manner because they simply do not have the quality to be a leader. Sometimes they can be known as administrator, just simply administrator. They depend on so many people to get things running. Okay. Then number 10, lack of courage in killing the project. What does this thing mean? Okay, this is simply mean if you get a job, okay, construction work, for instance, and then you simply cannot do. You started doing things, but at the end of the day, not to say at the end of the day, maybe when you achieve 10% of the work or 15%, you simply couldn't do it. By right, you can basically raise a white flag, say, I cannot do this. Okay, it is better that you raise this issue at the beginning of the project. Okay, not waited until the end of the project, which is too late already. So this is what we call courage. Similarly, sometimes UTM students, when they got into UTM, they were given a program or courses which basically they thought that they didn't like. But then basically, of course, because of the system that we could not change the program, that is the issue with the Malaysian student, then he tried to continue half-heartedly. By right, he should basically write, after 1 or 2 semesters, he should basically write to the office that he want to withdraw from the program. When he do that, basically, he can reapply into another program which he or she likes. That will be even better compared to if you wait until 3rd or 4th year. I do have one of my students that happened only after maybe third year, then basically he was being kicked out of the UTM because he didn't like the course anyway. So he didn't study much, but he still managed because studying in university is basically very easy. You work in a group, uh, your friends are doing all the work, and then basically you just simply put your name. You can simply pass because the exam basically a recycled question after question. You can basically focus on doing previous semester question. I'm sure that you will get at least 50% of the mark. And assignment is very easy. Okay, you just copy and paste something from the previous student work. Basically, you can basically survive. But the issue is that you might not be a good engineer because you don't like the course. Okay, so going into our topic, the need for project manager. Okay, always remember the word project manager can be referred to project manager working with the client. This is simply, we call it PMC, project management consultant. They are being categorized as consultant, but the profession basically refer them as project manager. And then the normal one is basically contractor, is the one that normally at the construction site. Okay, so this slide may be referred to either one. It could be referring to client side or even contractor side. Okay, much time, energy, and effort. You see, in our project life cycle, we already mentioned that construction is only one of the phases. Normally, almost at the end of the project life cycle. Okay, whereas there are a lot of phases that happened in the previous phases that we didn't know. There are a lot of effort that people put into initiation, feasibility study, design stage, tendering, etc., etc., and then come construction. Okay, then come construction phase. Okay, when or what we call during implementation. So a lot of effort has been put, a lot of money was being paid to respective stakeholders or parties. But then the issue is that when you select or choose project manager, you choose the wrong person. Okay, so that's it. That's it, man. When you choose the wrong person, meaning to say the end product, which is basically the building or the road that you are going to construct, after designing, so spending so much time on designing and preparing all the related document, is basically, I would say, gone into the drain because you select the wrong project manager, then basically he cannot deliver. Okay, project manager. When you want to choose project manager, it is very important that you choose project manager which is very talented in such a way he or she do have creativity. So creative mind. So this is what entrepreneurship that UTM motto or logo, whatever, maybe motto that we have seen. What is entrepreneurship? Basically, they do have a creative thinking. Okay, only entrepreneur can have that. Even though everybody have that kind of thinking, but then you need to polish. Why? Because in everyday situation, being a manager, you need to resolve a lot of problems. When you solve problem, then basically you need creativity because you want to resolve problem as fast as possible, as cheap as possible, and then basically it is a permanent solution. You do not want just simply solving problem temporarily. Okay, you want to solve problem permanently so that things will not recur. Okay, criteria of project manager. Project manager must have sufficient knowledge in many areas and then relevant experience. What kind of experience? Hands-on, meaning to say it is based on working experience. You do not read books and get experience. No, even though you can read thousand and thousand of books, but you are not going to have the experience that normally associated with the real work situation. Track record, you as a project manager, let's say, that's why I say project manager is experience based. You work for so long and then only people have the confidence to hire you as a project manager. Yeah, you can start with a position as site engineer, but then after a few years, you might become a senior site engineer, and then you could become assistant project manager first, and then project manager. That could be the highest position if you are working with the contractor at the construction site, or even you are working as a consultant. Full-time managing project. This is another issue. Full-time managing a project. So managing a construction project is no joke because it involves a lot of people, resources, and basically money. Okay, so we cannot afford to have all kind of mistake. Okay, all kind of mistake or bad decision. So project manager must be there at all time, working full time. It is not part-time job. It is not like what we call e-hailing business. Part-time ride, food delivery or Grab. You're doing just part-time, maybe at night. No, no, no. This is a full-time job where you need to be there at all time and then attend to all the problem. By sitting at the construction site, then only you know what is going on. Okay. All right. Basic skill of project manager. There are a lot of skill and the knowledge that we are going to mention only a few of them only. For instance, time control. Going back to our equation that last time about uh, project constraint, for instance, we can mention scope, cost, and then time, and then quality, safety and health, and then environment. So time certainly is one of the most critical thing because nowadays everybody, especially the client, wanted to have the project completed as fast as possible, even though the cost of the project could be a lot. Just imagine, if you do the work for 10 million ringgit of project, maybe the period of completion is around 2 years. How about 100 million? People also want 2 years. How about 1 billion? People also want 2 years. 10 billion also people want as fast as possible, you see? So it is pressure being put on, especially project manager and the team. So you must be having some kind of skill in order to get the required resources and then prioritize on the important thing because there are so many things to do. So if you get your priority right, okay, detail are attended. Detail meaning to say you do not just want to focus on the concept alone. So they are detailing that you must basically also take care, okay? Because small things sometimes it could grow bigger and bigger and it could become problem one day. Resolve problem as quickly as possible and thinking ahead, meaning to say you must have plan A, B, C, whatever. Schedule the work and maintain job progress because job progress is the one being measured and then being um, what we call a point of many interested party, especially the client, and the client do pay contractor based on the work progress. And then cost control. Okay, cost control. Again, one of the most important element that people always afraid of cost being go beyond what has been budgeted for. So when you are managing a project, you can apply whatever method of cost control. One of them is what we call value engineering or value management technique. Value management technique is the overall concept, but when you apply engineering, and then that's what we call value engineering. Example, if you have taken the what we call IDP 1, you have done project estimating. project estimating. Okay, I'm not sure whether you have taken or you are by right you should have taken this class. Okay, one of the project is basically called project estimating. You did estimating on the earthwork, for instance. Maybe you get the initial cost of earthwork is 1 million, let's say. Okay, that is the initial cost. But then there is a one assignment given to you. How about if the client wanted to reduce the cost 30%? Okay, this is what we call value engineering. So how are you going to change whatever thing that you can do in order to reduce the cost? You can change using the value engineering in terms of the work method, in terms of the design of the level, uh, and then in terms of choosing the right resources, etc., etc., etc. There are so many things that you can do. This is an example of value engineering. Number 3, planning. So next week we will start with the planning and scheduling. That will be a majority of our class is basically based on planning, even after the second half of the semester is the application of planning and scheduling. Okay, why? Because planning and scheduling is the heart of project management. What is the heart? Heart meaning to say, if your heart stop beating, that's it, man. That's why it is so important. Planning is the heart. Forecast the outcome. So planning, as I already mentioned, do have what we call 5W plus 1H. What to do, who is going to do, where, which, and then when, and then how. Okay, so there are elements of forecasting because we do planning based on next thing to be executed, not now. Nobody do planning based on you are doing things now. People do planning based on the next thing, which is not there yet. Okay, so when you do planning, active planning, meaning to say, you do not just simply do planning one time and then that's it. You use that planning for the rest of the project. No, no, no. Planning should be very dynamic. It will change according to your work progress because we never know what is going to happen in reality. So have an open mind on the planning. Do like what we call dynamic planning. It is not like passive. Okay, active planning meaning to say, please expect that you are going to revise plan. Overall plan. Do not do planning based on certain aspect only. This is what we call holistic. Planning should cover everything. You do not want to miss one of the aspect. Okay. Oftentimes people miss something because they do not see the overall aspect. They do not study the overall drawing, BQ, what to be constructed, and then use the right planning techniques. Okay, we are going to focus on many different techniques later on. Review and revise plan. Okay, that is the concept that we do not expect the planning to be just one-time exercise. Involve and commitment, meaning to say you must be committed to your planning. Oftentimes people do planning, they throw the idea, but then during the implementation, they do not want to give resources because everything that you want to do need money. Sometimes the big boss come out with all kind of strategic planning, etc., that we want to do this and that, but then during the implementation, there's no money given. Oh, we do not have money to do this and that. Then how exactly you expect the plan to be executed? Okay, remember, plan is just a tool. It's just a tool that help you. Planning do not move by themselves. We human is the one that get things moving. Okay, you do not, even though planning is important, but you do not depend 100% on your planning itself. It is the executing thing that must go along, controlling, monitoring, etc., etc., etc. Tool is good to have, but depending on the tool alone will not be sufficient. Okay, then decision making. Decision making. Okay, as manager, you need to make decision. Many decision. Every day you are making a lot of decision, and your decision is for the sake of the organization, or what we call company. It is not your self decision. If you are a student, for instance, oftentimes you are making decision for yourself. So whatever happened to your bad decision will not impact others as much. Maybe it will impact your family a little bit, but when we are talking about organization, when you made bad decision, it will cost the organization money, reputation, etc., etc. So make sure that when you make decision, you make the decision wisely. Okay. Identify the real problem. Sometimes people thought it is a problem. Okay, it is sometimes it is just perception that, oh, there is a problem. You need to really identify, is it really a problem or just merely a speculation and whatnot. So once we do, we focus on the real problem, then we come up with many solutions, then we evaluate the solution, try to implement the best thing, and then try to evaluate to what extent that the solution that we implemented benefit us. If, for instance, sometimes we do come up with a certain decision, but at the end of the day, it costs us so much, but then it doesn't impact positively. So it looks like the decision that we are making might not be suitable for the time being. Maybe it is time to change to a better thing, or better planning and whatnot. And then stand by. Stand by. What does stand by mean? Stand by your decision. Stand by the decision meaning to say when you make a decision, stay firm. Okay, you must have a strong, basically strong support. Okay, and what we call, do not change your decision every day. Let's say the next morning you come from your house and then you change your decision. The following day you change again and again. That might not be good. Okay, that might not be good. Stand by. Stand by means, meaning to say stand firm based on the decision that you did. Identifying trend. What is trend? Trend is basically pattern. What is happening currently based on your observation, based on whatever data that you observe. We can collect so many data and put into the computer and then analyze the data. What kind of trend? Trend in terms of deviation. What is slippage? Slippage means variation, delay in terms of time. Okay, deviation meaning to say between plan and actual. We do have variance. You have learned about standard variation, standard deviation, for instance. What is standard deviation? When something varies from the average, that's what we call deviation. Okay, so there could be something wrong with regard to whatever that you calculate. If this kind of trend going on and on and on, you will see that it will have a negative impact to your work progress and etc. etc. So study those trend and then make correction. Okay, that is example of skill. There are so many skill, more actually, that one you can read later on. Okay, how about the knowledge? Okay, knowledge in terms of what? Human relation. Human relation. Because you know what? Remember, when we talk about resource, they could be man, machine, and then what else? Material, and then money, and then what we call method, work method. Among these resources, one of the most difficult element to manage is basically manpower, human. Because human, you never know. They come, maybe one person come into the office very happy in the morning, and then suddenly at 10 o'clock, not having breakfast yet, then the mood swing, and then in the afternoon, then this guy have a different mood, and then the late afternoon, at night, whatever, people can change even within a few seconds. So that's why managing human being is the most difficult. In any management, that is the issue. Okay, money, we can get the money, we can borrow the money, whatever. It could be a problem, but then, especially with machine do not talk back. As simple as that. If we found the machine is broken down, then we simply replace. But with regard to human, it is very difficult. Okay, you cannot simply fire our workers out of for nothing, because there is law that protect them. But then the issue is that when you fire a person, and then you need to get replacement, sometimes it will take some time in order to train that worker. So basically, that's why it is making what we call managing human being is the most challenging things. And then people who come from different background, various background, we do have international projects such as Kuala Lumpur International, KLCC, TRX, whatever. And people who come to work, especially professional, could be coming from many different nation or country. That by itself will give a great challenges in terms of cultural issue, in terms of communication issue, in terms of perception, in terms of knowledge level, whatever things. Okay, they do have different skill, they do have different motive. Why people come to your organization? Sometimes they just simply attach to your organization as a stepping stone, just to fill up their resume. They have been working with a great organization. And there are people like that. And you must basically nurture the people to remain loyal to organization, work as one team. Okay, even though they are being putting into various unit, section, department, but at the end of the day, they must work as a one team. They must coordinate, because the objective is only one: to complete the project as being required by the contract, and etc. etc. Okay, what else? Solving interpersonal problem. You see, the issue is that when we are dealing with human, then only conflict will arise. So you as a boss, whatever thing, sometimes even though you might have your subordinate or people below you, such as engineer, supervisor, and then the what we call foreman or workers leader, but sometimes the workers or supervisor also cannot solve the problem, and they pass the buck to you. So as manager, at the end of the day, you cannot pass the buck to other people, because you are the highest position in the organization. So you must have the ability to resolve interpersonal problem among the co-workers, or even conflict between different stakeholders, etc., etc. Okay, within your organization, or even inter-organization, or outside of your organization. You can utilize many concepts in managing conflict. Okay, because different people basically require different way of dealing with. Okay. Okay, now what else? Leadership. Okay, leadership. Not everybody have the leadership skill. Leadership, basically, I would say sometimes you are being born with that, okay, to a certain extent. Some people are very shy, for instance. So shy people, people who are basically having some kind of afraid to hurt other people feeling, you can be, sometimes it's very difficult to be a leader, because you just simply cannot decide. Okay, so that's why people say leader sometimes could be the one that just simply talk very harsh. They don't care about many things, because if you bend down on certain things, then people will step on your head. Okay, some people say that, but well, there are many type of leaders. Okay, you can be charismatic leader, you can use the authority. Because you are the boss, then people will respect you. That is basically a good point to start with. But then, if you use your authority, you basically lost on what we call your charisma. By right, you should use charisma instead of authority. Okay, people can work, can give you support, can work with you free of charge, without claiming overtime, whatever, working extra hours, working over the weekend in order to get things done because they respect you. Okay, that could be a good skill that every leader that should have. Okay, earn the respect. Okay, you do not want people to respect you because you are the boss. You basically have to show, you basically have to respect other people, even though how low their position in your organization. Then only people will have some kind of what we call respect over who you are. Okay, and develop project team. Make sure that everybody work in a team, not basically working as an individual. Okay, because even though you are being put into certain smaller unit, but at the end of the day, coordination is very important. Number 4, listening. Knowledge or ability to listen. Even though you as manager, most of the time you are the one doing the talking, but you must basically also uh, spend time listening to other people's views. Okay, other people's views, so that you will get a better information, feedback, in order for you to make a better decision. Okay, you must listen to others, because sometimes people who are working out there in the real working environment, they know better. Okay, they know better, and then listening to them, you will acquire all kind of information to make a better decision. Okay, and you know what, consequences of not listening. Okay, not only you will miss point, but the issue is that you will resort to costly mistake. What kind of mistake? Example with regard to change order or changes in design. Let's say you already inform the consultant that you basically cannot pile on a certain point due to soil condition, etc., etc. And then you need to wait for a consultant basically decision. And then while waiting for the information came in. Okay, came into the office. Last time we used fax. Nowadays, maybe the email, using the email, whatever mode. And we do have software, project management software. Sometimes the information is being put into the system. But you need basically to be aware of the information which is coming. And people who receive the information have to acknowledge and then file those things and then give the information to the right people. What happened? If the information is not being passed to the right people, maybe construction workers, they do not know there are changes, and then they just simply go ahead with what being told to them at the beginning of the project, and then they install the part at the wrong point, and then they concrete those things, etc., etc. And then after those things completed, you have a site visit, and then you jump. You simply jump. What happened? We do have changes, and then basically now that file you cannot basically use, or you need to extract. That basically cost you a few thousand already. That could be one small mistake. That kind of mistake could be happening all over again at the at many part of the building element. Okay, barrier to good listening. Sometimes people have mental block. This is what we call mental block. Preconceived notion. Notion meaning to say, this guy is going to talk rubbish. Once you have that kind of mental block, then whatever people say, you simply will not go into your brain. That is as simple as that. So have an open mind on something. Please listen to whatever people want to say first, then you can make a decision based on the information. You can always check many fact and figures that are available. And you know what? Listening, as what we are doing now, do not retain a lot of information. Only 20%. By the time we finish the class, I would assume that 10% is going to lose. By next week, remaining is 5%. By next month, is basically 0%. Except that when you are doing things. So in teaching, for instance, this method of teaching, online teaching, where one person is just talking and then you start listening, is deemed to be very ineffective in basically teaching. You need to have people, the audience, doing things. Then only you can remember well. Okay, you can remember well. So that's why in early education, sometimes the teacher asks you to write things. Why? Why you need to write things even though the thing is already in the books? Why you need to copy? Because the copying thing is a process of remembering. When you copy things again and again, maybe like 60 times, it will be embedded into your brain. It is like taking picture. Okay, when we take picture in digital camera, where does the image goes? It basically remain in the memory. A lot of things that we see, it remain in our memory, except that we cannot retrieve. That is the beauty of looking at the things, okay, compared to listening. And then what else? Number 5, management of change management. Management in management itself is one of the field. You can Google, there are books about change management alone. If you are studying project management field, master in business administration, so one class is dedicated to change management. You see how big is this topic? What is change management? Change management is a field of simply how are you going to deal with changes. We cannot avoid changes. Whatever thing that we thought, changes will always happen and happen without even we realize. Okay, without even we realize. Whether we want or not, changes will always happen. Either in the technology, either in the humans, either in the work process, method, etc., etc. Even material, construction material also keep changing. There are innovation with regard to certain things. Construction method also keep changing, and not to mention about the behavior of the people. Okay, the most important thing about changes, you must basically try to measure to what extent changes is happening, and then if the changes is very big, then perhaps it is time to take corrective action, or you must modify certain things in order to capitalize or take advantages with regard to the changes. It can go into a positive side, or if you do not let changes happening, you might be basically left behind. Okay, so sometimes changes could mean a positive thing. It is not uh, to say that it is totally bad. Okay, you need to manage the changes, not running away from the changes. Okay, the good project manager. Okay, a good project manager should alert about the problem, get rid of the problem as soon as possible, deal with emergency. Emergency will always happen and happen as a project manager. Even you are on holiday, people will always call you. Okay, you cannot just simply say, oh, okay, I am on vacation and whatnot in what kind of island. So you have problem, you deal with yourself. No, 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 no. Because sometimes as a project manager, because you are being paid so much, the responsibility and accountability remain with you. Even though you might delegate the work to others while you are being away, the accountability remain with you. That is the issue. Plan properly even before entering a site. This is what we call pre-construction. Okay. Aware of changes and decisive action, consistent and persistent, but allow flexibility. Okay. When you make a decision, even though I say you do not change decision every day, but we must aware that sometimes you need to be very flexible in order to allow some kind of changes within control manners. Okay. Role of project manager. Okay. Previously we were talking about skill, knowledge. Now we want to zoom in into role. Okay. A project is unique. You already given last time in first or second, maybe second quiz, what is the definition of project. By now you should have what does project mean. Okay, project do not duplicate by itself. Okay, project manager in Malay, I can relate to you that being a project manager, you are going to deal with many different parties, stakeholders, etc., etc. So that's why sometimes people say, being a project manager, you become jack of all trades. You need to know a bit of here and there, whatever things. Sometimes when you know too much of things, you might not be mastering one particular area. Okay, unlike different professions. Sometimes different profession, when you study or when you are doing something, you only focus one small area. But being a project manager, you do not have the luxury of to zoom in only one focus area, because your interaction is basically with many different parties, many different people, many different field, knowledge, skill that you basically need to understand. Okay, role. Let's zoom in into 5 basic what we call management process. This is what we call management process. Management process. Planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. First, planning. Okay, as I mentioned, planning is the heart of good project management. Without planning, basically, project is not going to be successful. Okay, and then guideline, focus. When you do planning, focus on the more important thing first, and then the less significant later on, because there are so many things to be completed, but then you must basically focus the more important thing, less important, and whatnot. You must set the KPI objective. Involve key manager and staff. Planning must be done by many people. You cannot do the thinking by yourself. That is not a good planning. Okay, you need to have input from many different people. Milestone, you set the milestone. What does milestone mean? Milestone meaning to say important event. Okay, important event. Start of the project, finish of the project. Okay, building contingency meaning to say plan A, B, C, D. You must have contingency. Plan A. If plan A is not running smoothly, then we do have selection of plans B, C, etc. That is an example. Okay, you must have the different plan so that you do not panic. Avoid unnecessary replanning, meaning to say, unnecessary meaning to say, you just simply change plan according what you wish. No, no, no. We do not do that. We only change plan after we did the measurement, and when there is necessary, then we do that. Formal agreement. When you want to do something, to even undertake certain work, please have those things written in formal. Make an agreement. It is like, for instance, if you want to rent a house, whatever thing, there must be an agreement. Oftentimes, people who do not have agreement sign, and then they will have a problem. Okay, later on. That is for small thing. Now, just imagine for construction who involve which basically involve multi-billion dollar of costs, you do not have a formal agreement. Okay, that is basically will kill yourself. Communicate the project plan. Okay, meaning to say, oftentimes people who do planning is not the one that basically will execute the work. The one that do planning could be top people, could be the planner, could be the scheduler. And when there is a scheduler around, that scheduler will not go into the construction site. Oftentimes, they will just sitting at the office, doing all kind of the updating, and then evaluating, and then reporting whatever things. Okay, he might not be the one that basically will execute the work. The one that will execute the work mostly basically workers. So workers need to know what is basically your plan. So you need to explain to the right people. Plan implementation. Okay, what is the value of the planning is basically useless until you implement those plans. Okay, because planning itself just basically the thinking that you put on paper or in a computer program. You can print out and post it on the wall, but what is a good what is the worst of the planning until you implement those planning, then only that kind of planning become so valuable. Okay, so just do not put the planning into paper or in terms of theory without the implementation. Organizing. Okay, after this, we do have one topic with regard to organizing. Organizing involve basically delegating work to the right people. Okay, delegating work to the right people, especially the management team. Okay, the management team. Organized work to be accomplished. This is what we call uh, WBS. WBS. We are going to learn this thing in planning scheduling. And then we do have what we call OBS. OBS stands for Organizational Breakdown Structure. And what is the end product of WBS? This is what we call organizational chart. When you enter any office, or even you have been working with a company during your industrial training, so any organization will have the organizational chart. Who is the boss, and then who is the subsequent people after the boss, etc., etc. So this is what we call organizational structure. Why do we develop organizational structure? Because we want to delegate the works, that we already figure out during the planning process. Staffing. Okay. Staffing basically refer to the issue of in sometimes the terminology might be a little bit tricky. Maybe we can refer to talent management. Talent management. Nowadays, people use this concept of talent management. Identifying, okay, who is the person with the best skill in order to be put in certain position or works. So you must know your workforce very well. That guy, he or she is good at doing what? When that person is very skillful in doing something, he will love his work very well. He could do the work in most productive manner, in a creative way. He can get things fast. If, for instance, you put people who do not interested in the IT, working in the IT because he is little bit slow about IT, then basically he will not do the work what we call passionately. He will do work half-heartedly, okay, because he is not interested. Maybe he is interested in other things. So it is very important for the boss or human resource manager, whatever, know their staff very well in order to put them into a proper place or position. Directing. What is directing? Directing meaning to say You want people to perform according to what you wish. You must basically lead the way or show them the way. Okay, if for instance people who have that kind of knowledge, and then you have workers which basically do not have that skill, you need to show them first. Then only they will emulate you, they will follow you, but then they will improve a bit by bit. At the end of the day, it will take a few years, because you yourself, when you develop that skill, will require a few years. How do you expect people who just simply do not have that skill to master the skill in just a few weeks or days or month? Okay, but anyway, you must lead by example. You are the one that show people. This is what we call directing is all about. And then controlling. Controlling must have monitoring and controlling. This is just the terminology that we choose. Okay, in a proper terminology, these two things must be there: monitoring and control. We do have monitoring and controlling topic at the end of our semester, because we need to wait for learning, planning, scheduling, and then resource management to complete. Then only monitoring will come into the course syllabus. Okay, monitoring and controlling is happening during project execution. When you implement the work, meaning to say construction work, then you need to monitor. What is monitoring? Monitoring is the process of recording, get all the information. Then only after you get the information, you will take action. Action is basically controlling. Okay, then you can revise the plan. So that's why it will go into cycle and cycle during implementation, going back to your what we call drawing board, going back to your planning, and then implement, and then monitor, and then control, and then going back again to planning, etc., until the end of the project. Okay, so that is the end of our first topic. Okay, end of our first topic. We will take